Hello and welcome to the pages of Think Big, one of the widely acclaimed books on motivation and leadership. I'm Dr. A.P. Gaur, the author of the book, and today we'll be dealing with the everything is in mind only. Friends, our destiny, our success, and our entire life is the result of what is going on in our minds. Life is nothing but purely thought process. If we think we can do something, in most likelihood we are able to accomplish that task. On the other way, if we think that this work is very difficult, so undoubtedly that work becomes difficult, and in that way we are not able to get that particular work accomplished in that much perfection. Please go through the contents of the chapter. Do share the video and give your critical remarks also. Wherever you think that certain things are to be highlighted, or wherever you think that certain things need some improvement. So thank you very much. Good luck. Victory or defeat, elation or dejection, happiness or sadness, good or bad, mine or yours, poverty or richness, superiority complex or feeling of inferiority. All are the temporary emotions of mind. All these feelings are purely subjective, 100% relative terms, which vary from person to person and are situational. One man's sorrow is other man's joy. Nothing is either good or bad. It is our feeling which makes it so. Our thought process, control on emotions, and the art of handling situations changes drastically as we advance in age. The situations which seem to be alarming to us in our adolescence are but freak and usual when we face them in our adulthood. It is through experience and age only that we learn to control our minds better, and then the ghost of mind do not haunt us, unfortunately. Experience is a comb which nature gives us when we are bald. There are some stories, and through these stories I would like to make my point clear that everything is in mind only. Here goes the first story. Once a mouse was being chased by a cat. It was a matter of life or death for the poor mouse. So it wanted a safe place to hide from the certain death. In the process, it accidentally fell into a liquor container and jumped out of it after consuming the liquor to its full. As if possessed with some otherworldly powers, the mouse started beating its chest with its fist and rained abuses at the cat. You rascal, daughter of the meanest bitch, you have been troubling my entire clan for ages. Today I am going to teach you the last lesson of your life. Come on, I will eat you. And the cat could not muster up courage even to raise a worldly war on the mouse. The cat lost its confidence and slipped away to safety rather than being insulted publicly by the mouse. So the moral of the story is our fears, our joys, all our emotions are but the products of our mind. The fear starts in mind, and the ghosts are produced in brain first, and then only take a material form. The mouse at a stage when it was not drunk was fearful, and because of that it was going to lose its life. But when the fear got removed from its head, it was a totally changed mouse, bubbling with energy, confidence, and strength, even challenging the death. On the other hand, when the cat was able to scare the mouse, its confidence was high, and it was pleased to know that its enemies are afraid to face it. But the same cat lost its confidence when challenged by its prey, the insignificant entity, and that was the mouse. That is what we have said earlier. Everything is but in mind only. We are the victims of our thoughts, emotions, likes and dislikes. Let's grow up and come out of our fear psychosis. Another story of a dog chewing bone can prove this point too. All of you must have seen a dog chewing a dry bone. How intensely and with what pleasure it licks up and chews the bone. We know the bone is meatless and even marrowless, but the dog's mind is not at all ready to see it. The thought of enjoying a delicious bone secretes or discharges the juices from its salivary glands, and it gets the impression that the delicious fluid is coming out of the bone. And the process goes on until the dog is satisfied or satiated. What a fun! The taste is not in outward delicacy, it is in the mind only. There is yet another story from my native village at Uttarakhand. One of our neighbors, Mrs. Rukmani, had gone to her fields to collect fodder for her cattle. As a practice there, the green grass is cut with a sickle and then tied into small piles. That day, she brought the piles of grass and kept them in a place adjacent to the cow shed. There was still the grass of previous days stored, and generally the term of new piles being fed to the cattle came the third day. Now on the third day, when she opened the piles of grass to be fed to the cattle, a sharp, shrill sound came out of her mouth and she fell unconscious. We ran to her and were horrified to see the body of a green snake cut into two pieces and piled between the strands of grass. It did not take us long to understand that while cutting the grass with her sickle, she accidentally cut the green snake also and tied it with the pile of grass. We took Rukmani out and with the help of neighbors tried to bring her back to consciousness, but all in vain. Her condition deteriorated during the night and she could not see the next sunrise. Her entire body turned blue and it was obvious that she died of snake bite. Now the question is, how can it happen that a person dies of snake bite without actually being bitten? Even if we suppose that the lady got bitten by the snake while cutting the grass, it was 3 days back and she would have died at least 2 days back. Then what? In fact, the lady did not die of snake bite. She died of fear, the fear of snake bite. It was purely psychological snake which killed her. Her mind accepted the fact that she had been bitten by the snake, and that is why the venom spread to her body, blocking her heart, and finally she died. Human mind is solely responsible for all victories or defeats. Battles are won by the minds first and solemnized in the battlefield with the help of arms and ammunition. To illustrate the example how battles are won by minds and not by arms, there is description of a historical war that was fought at Bhangani near Dehradun. It was around 1685 AD that Medini Prakash, the king of Sirmaur, now in Himachal Pradesh, was having a tussle with Fateh Chand, the king of Garhwal. over the territory of Kyardun. Now it is known as Dehradun. Medini Prakash sought help of Guru Gobind Singh, then a lad of 16 years only. He helped Guruji settle at Paonta Sahib near Dehradun. Guruji, then almost a vagabond and being continuously troubled by Aurangzeb, also wanted a hideout and raise an army of his own. So he started teaching martial arts to all his followers, mostly the outcast and untouchable Hindu lads. On the other hand, King Fateh Chand also consolidated a huge army of his own and got into a treaty with the combined army of 14 hill states, ready to capture Paonta Sahib and Dehradun areas, considered rich in paddy cultivation. In the meanwhile, King Medini Prakash also got entangled with another bordering kingdom, and Guru Gobind Singh was now left alone to defend the territory of Kyardun against the approaching army of 14 kingdoms. Anyway, Guruji was not a person to backtrack against the approaching war gods. He selected a place called Bhangani for the historical battle, in which on one side was an skilled army of thousands of warriors, and on other was an army of a few hundred unskilled, downtrodden people. On one side, the confident warriors had also best quality of swords, spears and arrows with them, and on the other side, the people had lathis, ballams, axes, karchuls, kotleks and kripans with them. But the battle was won by the unskilled soldiers of Guruji within half an hour. The combined army, when confronted with the war cry of Wahe Guruji Ka Khalsa, Wahe Guruji Ki Fateh, started running away, and those who dared to stop the Guruji's soldiers were bludgeoned to death. Some others, who could come out of their fair psychosis, came back to fight and met with the same fate. Actually, Guruji's soldiers strongly believed that Guruji was an incarnation of God and were sure to win any battle under him. So the victory which was in their minds came in their fights too, whereas the soldiers of the combined army had no faith in anybody except in material gains and plundered booties. They were like hired killers fighting for their own personal gains with the fear of unknown always in their minds. So, you are what you think of yourself. Always keep in mind that you want to do in life. Keep your mind focused on those great deeds which you want to do. Focus on your thought, on what you want from life, what you really want to be. Interestingly and strangely enough, you will find that as the days pass, the opportunities come your way exactly in the manner you wished. Our thoughts are omnipotent. All the things present on earth can be obtained if we seriously desire or yearn for them. Here goes a story to prove the point. Rahul Sankirtan, the great scholar and author, wanted to write a novel on Singh Senapati, a great army commander of ancient India, but was unable to go ahead due to lack of sufficient written or verbal material on the subject, that is, Singh Senapati. He visited all the Indian libraries dealing in ancient and medieval history, and even visited Tibet in the garb of a Buddhist monk, but to no avail. Once or twice he got in touch with some old black magicians of Varanasi who claimed to be recalling any departed soul from heaven. That too did not work, but Rahulji's quest for this subject did not stop. As he was in the habit of digging a piece of land for 2 hours daily in order to keep fit, his conscience directed him to dig deep at a particular spot. He went on digging it deep and deep for more than 1 month, ignoring the taunts and unfriendly remarks of his kith and kin. One day the miracle took place. Instead of digging up the soil, The spade dug out a big slate of baked soil. Rahulji pulled it out, and to his surprise, the slate had some verses written in Prakrit language, eulogizing Singh Senapati. From the same pit hole, Rahulji collected 30 odd slates on his subject. He was a scholar of Prakrit language also and was able to write the most authentic novel on the life and heroics of the legendary commander Singh Senapati. Indomitable will has enough power that makes the desired things happen. Your ways to do the work move on. Self reliance is the key to success. Man's actions are the outcome of his thoughts and feelings. Success and failure are mere a change of attitude. It is our attitude that brings success or failure, and so our process also. When the going gets tough, the tough people get going and the lesser mortals crumble. Your positive attitude makes things happen. Winners never quit, quitters never win. Once again, it's a matter of attitude. Lame excuses have no legs to stand upon, but strengthen your bad habits. Excuses do not create success stories. All diseases are mostly psychosomatic murders. Overcome them with determination. Extra thinking is sheer wastage of time. Unwanted thinking leads to ailments of different origins. Don't underestimate yourself. Human beings are the supreme creations of God. The need of the hour is to expose and explore it. A right attitude is more important than the wisdom of an individual. Meditate on ideas instead of mugging up facts and figures. Beware, your actions reflect your thoughts and add to your habits. Shape your destiny by choice, not by chance. Successful people do not do different things, they do something differently. Fate is never a sure way to success. The greatest enemy of the human being is the fear of fear. Fear is psychological, caused due to excessive stress and strain of the activity and modern world. Self-reliance is the way to success. Work is done by doing and not by thinking only. Only our sincere efforts can make our success sure and not by sheer expectations. Actions always speak louder than words. Don't forget, you too are someone very special. Take pride by it. Self-esteem is an integral part of one's personality. Establish mutual understanding and control your emotions. So, it is finally settled then that everything is purely a mind game. It is the mind which can make or mar us. There is need to control our thought process and emotions if we want to be successful in life. Thank you.